Okay, recording has started if you want to call the meeting to order.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 13:02. Do a recall. Thomas Waddell, Chair, I'm here. Nicholas Barraza,
He has just let us know that he is going to join in 5 minutes and should be in person by 2 o'clock.
okay. And Robert Carpenter,
Present.
Robbie Hanovich,
Present.
and we know Andrew's on his way. And Colby White.
We didn't hear from Colby.
Okay. And do we know if Councilman Matthews? Okay. All right. Heidi,
One second, it doesn't look like Andrew Schaus is on anymore virtually. So at this point, unless I've miscounted, Claire, I don't think we have quorum to quite get started yet with only Carpenter, Hanovich, and Waddell.
We do
Okay.
not, so we'll give it a second. And go from there. And I can't, because I'm sharing my thing, I can't see, so if Adam or Missy can let me know when.
Okay, I was looking at comments, but I can't do both at the same time for some reason.
Can't do everything at once.
I can keep an eye on the people if you keep an eye on the chat.
Andrew has a question. Has the meeting seemed to pause for anyone else?
Is he on the meeting?
That just came on, yes.
So we're good to start.
He's not showing on the list as connected, so I asked him to exit on his end and rejoin. Chair Waddell, I believe if you want to call Andrew and White again to confirm they're online, it looks like they're both present.
okay,
Yes, this is Andrew Schaus. I'm present. Sorry about that. I heard you call and for some reason didn't hear me.
okay. And Colby White,
This is Commissioner White. I'm present.
okay. Alrighty,
And then something, moving forward, we did already mention it, but we have recently gone over with our deputy city clerk and our clerk. And most commissions run that if it's not a quorum by the 5 minutes in, they'll call the meeting. We're gonna move forward with the 10 minutes in. So we really want to be respectful of everyone's time, and we know that we're thankful that you're part of the commission, but we need to be respectful and have everyone, the meeting starts at 1. So moving forward, if we don't have a quorum by 1:10, then we'll unfortunately have to call the meeting.
get an extra pen. I'm usually buy cheap pens. Okay, we had a new commissioner was going to be here today.
And maybe he hasn't joined us.
Our new commissioner's term begins in October, so actually that'll be next month.
Okay,
He may hop on the meeting. He had mentioned that he was gonna join.
okay, preliminary business, public comment and participation. Just want to remind anyone who's going to do that, it's about a 3-minute limit. Anything that you bring up today, we can't discuss or vote on. So did you want to make some comments?
Yes.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Steve Allen. I am a tenant on the airport since 1976. I heard rumors floating around that they want to charge a $50 fee for a gate access card. And I'm myself and many of the tenants back there feel that that should be issued when you pay your rent for your shade or your hanger. And my other comment would be, we have a big, long hanger list. We now have 2 vacant hangars right now. I know one's been vacant for 15 months and one's been vacant for about 6 months. And I just wonder, we ever gonna rent those out? You're wanting to make money on a gate pass and you lost $5,600 in revenue on one hangar alone. So that's kind of irresponsible planning.
So regarding the badging fees, since that was already a topic at a meeting and it was voted to move forward, we would encourage you that when it goes to council, that would be the more appropriate time for you to make your comments then, since the meeting, we've already addressed the badging fees, but thank you.
Okay,
And then as for the hangar spaces, we had one vacancy come up in July, which I already have somebody coming in to sign a lease for one location. I'm not sure if that's the same ones that you have mentioned, Steve, but please feel free to give me an email if you have an update on spaces that somebody may be leasing but is not using, so that I can reach out to them and confirm and actually mark those as vacant to get some of that wait list moving.
yeah, it was hangar 12 and hangar
Let's do
55.
this via email instead
Okay.
of on the public forum.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
okay. I appreciate your comments. Thanks. Okay, any announcements, changes to the agenda or preliminary announcements?
So staff will be at the Arizona Airport Association Annual Fall Conference at our next meeting. So our options are either to move the meeting to October 23rd, or we can cancel the meeting in October and resume in November. For the October agenda, it will be an information only. We don't have any items that we were planning on voting on for October. So it's up to the commission if they would like to meet on October 23rd, or if we want to cancel the meeting and meet in November.
Okay, and so you would have an update from that meeting?
It wouldn't really be enough. It's kind of just like the annual fall membership conference. We
Okay.
could have some updates, but have any major updates, it would just be a regular meeting like this, an informational meeting.
Okay,
But I have anything to vote on, like we voted on badging fees or parking fees previously.
any comments from the commissioners about either moving the meeting or just canceling? As noted by the staff, since it's an informational meeting only, I see no reason really to reschedule it, just move to the November meeting. Any other comments? Okay,
So the October meeting will be canceled?
yeah, let's,
Do you need to do a motion?
No,
No.
it's not a formal item.
okay, so just to reiterate, the October meeting will be canceled due to staff having a conference they need to attend. Okay. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting. Any changes? Okay, staff recommends that we go ahead and approve the meetings. Can I have a motion to approve?
Hi, this is Commissioner White. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, any, second?
This is Commissioner Carpenter. I will second that.
This is commi-
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nothing heard. The minutes from last meeting are approved. Okay. We won't have any city council updates. Apparently, Councilman Matthews is not available. And so we'll move on to staff reports.
So here are our employment numbers. We just actually got them a few minutes ago, right as the meeting was started, so we don't have the comparisons in quite yet. But you can see that August is quite on trend for the other months when we no longer had United service. So we're happy about that. Typically, this August is one of the slower flight schedule. So to have those numbers with a slower flight schedule is good. And then we are seeing more frequency in our flights in our October, November flight schedule. So we're excited for that.
Okay,
August operations, are a bit higher, than our previous years. I think some of that has to do with weather, and Orville might be able to give us a little bit more insight on that.
Now,
Yeah,
well, it actually, August is the highest of the year, which is normally not the case. We've just had a lot of traffic, military, corporate. I was gonna talk a little more about that.
Okay.
So,
we'll hit parking, and then we'll go back to fuel.
Okay, now we're moving on to parking revenue. You'll notice that we're being consistent with years past. We have seen a bump a little bit in the parking, on the parking side. I think that what's helped it is our load factors for the flights in August were really high, actually. We tend to have a lot less number of flights, but the load factor was pretty high, and I think that helped. And we're still seeing some trending. I think more of our community is learning to maybe get dropped off or find alternate ways, which is, that was part of getting the paid system in there, was kind of reassessing the driving behaviors and parking behaviors. So we're seeing some more of that, and I would expect those numbers to go up quite a bit. As Claire mentioned, our September and October flight projections, at least from a commercial side, is looking as good as previous 2 years. We just don't have that second or the LA flights on there, but the numbers are going to look good.
did we have, was our parking fee recommendations, has it been presented to council yet?
Has not.
Okay,
And we'll certainly keep you, we have a few things coming forward to council in the coming month. Once we get those on the calendar and we've worked through staff with it with our legal team and it's set, we'll certainly let commissioners know when something's going.
okay. Yeah, and could, one of the interest items on that, at least for me, about the monthly passes?
Yeah.
Yes. We've received quite a few calls from local businesses asking if they could participate in an offer of like monthly passes. So
Okay.
we're excited to bring that before council for their consideration.
Cool.
Those fees probably won't be into effect until probably January. It just kind of depends on our timeline. We are getting ready the report that goes out to the public. And then after that goes, I believe it goes to council then, but it has to go out for a 60-day notice first.
Okay. Thanks.
Fuel flow.
And just please refrain from talking. He's not a member of the council. He's here as a public commenter.
Gotcha.
So, thanks. Okay.
You want to talk a little bit about some fuel flow, Orville?
well, yeah, I'll talk a little more about it when it's my turn, but like I said, August was an extremely busy month. We had a lot of military, we had some really big uplifts. It was a pleasant surprise, to be honest. I mean, second busiest August I've had in my 27 years here. And when you consider the fact that there's only second to one of the years when we had 2 airlines here, we don't have 2 airlines right now, and we didn't have some big fire or some other event going on. It's a really great thing, for a lack of some kind of other way to describe it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And it's kind of surprising that even, the rumors that everybody was staying away from because of the fires in the canyon too, that you had increase.
Yeah, well, and thank you for bringing that up. I mean, we did have 5 airplanes here supporting that fire. We had 2 air attacks, we had 2 thermal imaging planes, and we had one of the lead planes that leads the tankers over the fire base with us quite a bit during that fire. And that we figured probably contributed about 1,000 gallons a day
Well,
while it was going on. I mean, they're all turboprops. One of them was a single engine turboprop, so they're not drinking the amount of fuel that a jet would be consuming. But yeah, it definitely contributed towards all that.
well, gee, while you're talking, FBO updates, please.
All right, great. Thanks, Claire. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we were entering into a formal agreement with SkyWest to provide on-call 24/7 maintenance. You know, I also mentioned last time, we have 5 AMPs right now, 2 IAs with a third study for his IA. We're still looking for a 6th AMP. September 1, when the agreement went into effect, they called one of our guys out 8 hours that day, basically. They had to bring up some parts and stuff, and we had to provide the escort. And they've called us quite a few times since then, so that's going well. I'm going over tomorrow to pick up the 5th company aircraft. It's the second 172 to be painted and interior done. So now we have 5 airplanes, all look the same. And we just got, a couple days ago, our formal receipt from the ICAO of our assignment of our call sign, which is now officially pine cone. So you'll be hearing the trainers, and the pattern is like pine cone 4 and pine cone 5. I will be pine cone 1, of course. And our 3-letter identifiers, FWA, which was available, which basically just stands for Fly Wiseman Aviation, if you want. And, you know, if you don't know what that process is like, you submit a form, you have to pick 5 choices for the letters, so forth and so on. It goes to this department of the FAA, and it gets routed around, and it goes internationally to make sure there's no conflicts. They check with the military to make sure there's no conflicts. So effective Monday, we're authorized to use it, and we will. It will be recognized internationally. So we're gonna get a letter up to the tower and let them know. And yeah, it's kind of exciting, I guess. I can't wait to go bombing into San Diego. Claire, we get the next slide, thanks. We have the annual chamber event coming up next month. Master Corral approached me. They're in November, we're doing a few more events than normal. In case any of you don't know this, I don't charge for these, and usually I'm this lead sponsor of anywhere from $2,500 to $7,500 besides donating the facility. Claire, next. And we always try that, you know, I don't do personal events. I don't want to get in the woods as far as, I mean, people we let use the hangar. We just want sort of a non-political, apolitical organization that's benefiting the community, and try to stay away from these other things that's gonna offend one side or the other. We're going to the NBAA show next month. We have our tickets and everything. We have some specific goals. Look at point of sale systems, some GSE equipment, and probably talk to fuel vendors, which brings me up to the next thing. Our rep was here a few days ago. We've been with AvFuel for a number of years. We don't really want to leave AvFuel. We think it's good to look around. We also had a discussion about the fact that I think we're going to see another airline here next year, and maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but you know, we've been hearing that the airlines have been pessimistic about the economy, but yet, if you notice, they talked about almost like a record Labor Day weekend or something like that. So, having looked at those fuel flows, we're gonna have a problem with allocations if the way this works is each fuel company basically seeks their allocations at their various locations. Phoenix Sky Harbor, about 85% of the jet fuel in the state comes from Phoenix Sky Harbor, 15% comes from Tucson. With the exception of Luke Air Force Base, Phoenix Sky Harbor, and Tucson International, which have pipelines going into them, every other airport in this state, including Gateway, gets it by truck. There's one physical rack in Phoenix with one loading arm, and it's usually hours to get the transports loaded. It's very difficult to get fuel on short notice these days. So we're just telling them, one of the things I said is you need to be thinking about upping your allocations, because they don't like pulling the fuel from Long Beach like they have to do sometimes. It has about another $1,000 in transport fees, and we're not real receptive to paying that. So that was a big discussion. I think once we get a second airline in here, the next discussion is putting in more fuel storage tanks. And I'm not gonna get ahead of my skis on that. But anyway, next. Still seeing a lot of military. It was kind of funny. Monday, there was a little bit of breakdown in communications. We thought we had one C-130 on short final. It turned out we had two C-130s, one behind the other, one coming from Savannah, Georgia, one coming to bring parts for the one that was broke from the West Coast. And so suddenly we were scrambling, but you know, we had the one C-130 here for 5 days for Miramar. They love coming over here. And I mean, they were taking uplifts, they go fly around, come back, take like 4,500 gallons. And, you know, it's not just us that's benefiting from it. You know, the fuel flow fee I pay, the airport's benefiting quite a bit on something like that too. So next, let's see, new print material stuff's finally showing up, and we're revising it some. We have a new 5,000 gallon Jet A refueler coming up, brand new, but much newer. We want to upgrade the fleet some. Still working on upgrading security cameras and using AI-based surveillance system. I think I reported earlier in the year, you know, the website's just been this nemesis for me for a reason, but we signed up with this company and they just kept asking for more information, and this, that, and the other. Well, AI has advanced so much at this point. I'm just going to use an AI-based development program, because if I got to provide all that stuff, I might as well just put it into an AI program and let it, so I don't have to like be redundant and say, hey, go back and fix this and fix that. So we'll see. Hopefully I'm not still talking about that next month. Let's see, anything else? We talked about a super strong summer. We were staffed well for it. We are actively hiring, trying to replace some of the NAU students that went away. We hosted the Flagstaff Symphony. I think this was maybe the 4th year in the hangar. They call it Sipping with the Strings. It was all brass this time. You can see right there, they did a super nice job of fixing it up. It was well attended, and I'm sure they'll be back next year. We were already talking about. I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah. You have any questions?
Appreciate you coming by.
Sure.
And it was interesting to watch juggling those 3 130s. It was interesting.
I have a social post scheduled for next Wednesday. I'm really good. I think it's Wednesday at 7 a.m. It's a really good picture of all 3 of them.
Great.
All right, project updates. What I'd like to do is just kind of give a brief update of where we are on the various projects we talked about last time. The TSA screening storefront project. This project continues to move forward. We're anticipating movement on that project as far as from a construction standpoint and from an impact standpoint in October, late October. We have met internally with fire marshal, and we've got to submit a permit and get some drawings over to him. But while that's being done, while we're working on the paperwork, the administrative side of that, the storefront itself has already been ordered, and so it's being manufactured as I speak now. So we're excited. Our partners over at TSA are excited to get this upgrade. And basically, real quick, just to do a quick summarization of what it is on Christmas Eve, we lost the coil door on that TSA checkpoint. And I think everybody in this room and online knows that hold room's got to stay secured at all times. So we were having to escort 2 at a time through the arrival doors to bring them into the hold room so where they can be screened. It was not very fun, but our contractor was able to get this temp wall that's currently standing there now. It took them all of about 3 days to get all of that put up there and secured. And so we partnered with TSA and our facilities team to come up with a more permanent solution, if you will. And what we're looking at doing is putting 2 very large double doors where the coil door was. And the reason why they are very large is due to the fact of the equipment that they have in there. If I need to replace it, I need to be able to get it through that double door. I don't want to take the storefront down again. So that's why we did the 2 very large double doors, and then we have a 3rd man door off to the side, and that will have our card readers through there. So that way, if TSA need to go in there and do some checks to their equipment, they can do it without opening the whole checkpoint. And for our services that we provide within that hold room, to get it cleaned and ready for the next day. They'll have direct access to that room. Next project, snow removal equipment building. There's a reason why I want to kind of bring this on. We've had a lot more movement on this project since the last time we spoke. As you may recall, the project in and of itself has been kind of re-envisioned or reimagined with our partners over the FAA, looking at eligibility from a funding standpoint. And so the overall footprint itself is quite a bit smaller, but it has the capacity for expansion at later time. So if we need to add another bay, we can add another bay. It will be a pre-engineered metal building. Because we are somewhat far away from the right-of-way, working with our planning department, we were able to not have to do a lot of massing and what have you. A lot of the architectural features, a lot of that was waived, but it'll still look like a nice building. Next slide, please. This particular slide can kind of show the architectural renditions of the old, larger structure versus the newer one. And as you can see on the screen through here, you can see some of the reduced size from 2,500 square feet to 1,600 square feet, so on and so forth. I do want to note that even though we reduced the amount of pull-through bays, we are still moving forward with our maintenance bay and our wash rack, because we currently do not have that here at the airport. So when we need to take some of these very large pieces of ARF equipment to get them worked on, it's difficult. It's very difficult, not only for our operators, but also for our mechanics over in fleet. This will give them the opportunity to come do general PMs on the equipment here, as well as do some, well, we will have a bridge crane in there so they can do some of the heavier stuff as well. Next slide, please. And here's where I get to do some more of the exciting. So you'll notice there's a couple of exhibits here, a couple drawings. These were done at a concept level. These plans, we had to go through a redesign with our design team and working with our contractor to look at repricing this project out. Since these drawings, you see these drawings on the screen here, we've done a lot more progress onto not only the site, but the building itself. The 60% package, bid package, and that's where our contract will start generating some of the pricing. They'll go out and do solicitation with their subcontractors. That package has been delivered to them. And this past Monday, we sat down for what's known as a page turn. We basically go through page by page, and we answer questions that whether the contractor may have or some of their subs may have. It's an iterative process. The reason why we did it so quick is because we need to get our GMP numbers to FAA in October. They've given us a deadline of approximately the late October, 17th through the 30th. It's basically that time frame they're looking. They need that GMP so we can go for our third and final request for grant funding, and then it's going to be discretionary funding. There's a lot of different movements going on right now on the West Coast here when it comes to funding from the FAA and discretionary funding. We were told that they're going to go ahead, even though it doesn't score high for them, this type of facility does not score high. Our ADO said that they feel very strongly and support it very strongly. So they are very optimistic that shortfall that we have from a budgetary standpoint, we'll be able to bridge that gap. So we need to get them their information as soon as possible. So again, late October, we have to give them a number. That's where we are on the snow removal equipment building. Any questions on that particular project?
The one question I had, because if I remember right, you said under the new design, there's not gonna be an office or a restroom.
Correct.
In the building. So the guys that are working there, if they have to use a comfort station, do they have to go outdoors, or is there gonna be a connector between the two buildings?
Great question. So in order for us to get this through our building code, we have to have a restroom within 500 feet, and the ARF building that's currently there fits that requirement. And because it's not going to be used continuously. We don't have any office spaces or we're not gonna man that particular facility. They went ahead and approved it so we can use the fire station for those types of facilities if needed.
But will the guys have to go from one building to another?
Correct.
So they'll be outside for X amount of minutes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Orville?
A few slides back, you showed the estimated cost, the revised cost versus grants available.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pretty big gap there.
Yeah,
So,
discretionary.
so that's where the discretionary comes,
Correct.
because normally you only pay a few percent on these things, right? Matching.
Yeah, not to get overly
let's say
not to get overly complicated, yeah, but it's changed, like this grant cycle will be a little bit different, whereas before it was, they paid approximately 90%, the state paid for 5 and we paid for 5.
Right.
Now with the newer grants, they take up quite a bit more, they take up like the 95%, and so and then we have to split the remaining.
But regardless, you're not gonna have to make up like a $5 million gap or something.
It's more like 6.
You're still gonna have to make that up.
Oh, through the discretionary aspect.
Yeah, but I don't mean the city of Flagstaff.
No,
Okay.
good question. Any other questions? No, okay.
Claire.
Adam. So this is our ad that will go on the side of the Sky Dome. So it'll be on, there's 4 sides of the Sky Dome, obviously. It will be on, I don't know the dome well, so I'm not gonna even try to say what one it is. It will be on the most visible wall. We're super excited for it. Unfortunately, there were some issues with measurements when they went to go install it. So it was supposed to be installed prior to the first game, but it is going to be installed mid next week. Since it wasn't installed, NAU was able to offer us some digital signage for the game. So at the game last week, we were on the signage boards. This is just a little bit of before the game, and then I pulled this picture off NAU social media. I thought it was pretty cool where you can see that we're in the background of that picture with all of the stands. But our big advertising campaign this year is really just promoting people to fly local at our airport, making it known that we have a presence. We have multiple flights a day, Phoenix and Dallas, Fort Worth. So really putting our money locally and getting it out instead of spending on our destinations and things like that. So fill the seats we currently have. That's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Is there any value, as you were just saying this, you know, like we're getting the second Dallas flight back here soon.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any value as you do this in somehow communicating the destinations?
So we previously had an ad in the dome right when I came in and it had Denver on it, and then we took away Denver and then we covered it up and it looked really poor. So that's why we went with this. It was it was like one of the long, it was, do you know what I'm talking about, where it was on this, in the dome? It had all of our destinations on it. It wasn't, this is a much larger ad buy than what we previously had. But certainly if we got a new destination, that's kind of why I did the design creative. We could put something in the sky up, or we could put something below the website if we did get like something super spectacular we wanted to. But yeah, the old creative that had all the destinations, it just didn't, we ended up taking it
Do
down.
you still get digital? Or they just did that?
They just did that as a supplement, but I really like the digital, so that might be something that we're
Because that you could easily put the
looking
destination.
forward, yeah. So something along those lines. We're also, something that's coming up, we're doing a big social media collab with NAU. So we're waiting until we get all of our visitor center kind of all situated, but we're hoping to do the filming the beginning of next month. And so that will be an NAU athletics collab. They'll bring Louis and a star athlete and they'll come through the airport and all that. So working on getting our local folks flying. Any other questions?
Who's handling this one?
Me and Tim. Before I jump into snow removal operations, because it is a critical component that we have here at the airport, I just want to backtrack. By the way, we are getting some changes in the old cafe space next to the visitor center. Next week, you'll notice that we're getting some new furniture installed in there, so I just wanted to put that out there as well. I forgot to mention it or put any slides. I apologize. Kind of, go ahead.
FYI, what is the operating hours of the actual visitor center side?
Well, they're getting ready to change due to our increased schedule.
Okay,
And let's keep, since it's not an agendized
Oh,
item,
okay.
maybe we can bring it back.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, please.
Okay, airport snow removal operations. We've talked a lot about the snow removal equipment building, and before I go any further, I just want to thank this commission as well as the support at the city and at council level. They've really been a great partner on this and trying to get us where we are today. We've worked on the project a lot. So we thought it would be interesting to kind of talk a little bit more about snow operations here at the airport and what does that look like. There's two main components in my mind. There's basically the land side and then the air side. The land side is a little bit more traditional in that from like a commercial standpoint, parking lots, sidewalks, those types of things. And we're not necessarily mandated per se like we are with the FAA when it comes to the air side. So when we do snow operations here at the airport, we partner with a vendor, Morning Dew. They come help us with the snow. I'm going to call it snow operations. It's not snow removal because we're not necessarily removing. We're not picking it up and leaving it. We're relocating it. So we'll just call it snow operations. And we look at some critical zones on the land side that we do need to address first. And we do the same thing on the air side as well. We'll get to that. Tim will get to that in a minute. So when we sat down and when we look at it, we kind of look at the general scope. You know, we've got the terminal parking lot, the economy parking lot, employee lot, the rental car ready lot, and the rental car storage lot. And each one of these have different severities or trigger points. And on the next slide, please, is a kind of this is a graphical representation that I use when we meet with our contractor that works on this. We generally have these meetings in October, so they've already gotten the email from me saying, hey, we need to schedule our pre-snow operations meeting. And this is essentially what I'll sit down with them and we'll review together. During snow, when we do get snow events, we look at life safety first. So we're critical on the sidewalks. We're critical on the main aisles to get people in and out. But in other areas where it's not as critical, because we've all seen Flagstaff, we can get a little bit of snow and it'll be gone in an hour. Or we can just get 32 inches in a matter of 6 hours, and we've all been there. So when we look at this, we have to be somewhat pragmatic and also need to be cognizant of cost as well. During snow operations, we look at trying to identify and trying to make sure that the main trigger areas are kept as clear as possible. The terminal in this illustration is in the upper left-hand corner. It's that gray box there. That is just for references. That's the terminal, and so we've got the terminal parking lot would be the next one over, and then the economy parking lot in the far, and then the rental car storage area and employee parking. We try to partner as much as we can with our rental car folks, but again, when we have the events, we need to maintain our focus just on the main aisles. We don't clean out cars. So this I thought worked well last year with the 4 or 5 storms that we had. Years prior to that, we were a little bit more aggressive, but that was when we had supplemental income from the CARES funding, so we could test them a little bit more and have it more aggressive. So more of a 1 inch throughout or 2 inch throughout. Now we're looking at precursors of 1, 2, and 3 inch on the ground is when we need to get to it. Also, you may or may not be aware, but you'll notice where we see Pulliam Drive there, as well as John Wesley Powell Boulevard. we are responsible for that sidewalk as well. Generally, what we do is similar to what the rest of the city is. So 24 hours after the last event, we need to have it clear. That's what we try to do as well. We don't have a lot of foot traffic currently along that stretch of road, but we do still try to get to it. Tim, are you on?
I am, yes. Can you guys hear me?
Tim lives.
Tim does live. Tim's going to go ahead and take over the air side, the more impressive portion of this presentation. So Tim, if you wouldn't mind, would you take it over?
Yeah, I don't know about more impressive, but yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So good afternoon, Chair Commissioners. Tim Skinner. I'm the ARC Battalion Chief and the Operations Manager. So yeah, appreciate the heads up on the land side. Adam, and like Adam was mentioning, it's, you know, a collaborative effort on both sides of the house. So for the air side or inside the fence, it, like Adam mentioned, it's a little bit different because it's heavily regulated by our FAA, and it's actually part of our Part 139 operating certificate. And so with this, in that Part 139, we're required to have an actual snow and ice control plan that's separate. And you can see, again, just a couple of basic illustrations there of what the generic plan looks like. And the photo on your right, I believe, and I know, Orville, you're there. I want to say that might have been the 2005 storm, the really, really big storm about a week or two later. I could be wrong. Anyways, but so with the plan, it guides us on what we should be doing pre-season, during season, kind of outlines our snow clearing priorities and our operations. And with that, it also dictates how we monitor the surface conditions and how we issue our associated NOTAMs. And so basically what we have to do is, no, that's fine. You can switch that as well. We can go on to that. So if you, when we have any sort of events, weather event on our runway, taxiways, connectors, ramps, we have to issue NOTAMs if there's any sort of contaminant that's less than dry or greater than dry. So any type of rain, sleet, ice, etc. And so with that, there's an associating RCC or runway condition code, and those range from 0 to 6. 6 is actually non-existent. 6 is what it looks like today. And I love talking about snow operations when there's 73 degrees outside. Actually, we can go. Yeah, thank you. So typically speaking, we try, and the crews do a really good job. And we'll talk about some of the challenges that they have to keep those runway condition codes within the anywhere from the 3s to the 5s. And so, sorry, we can go back one more slide. Perfect. So with that, in addition to the monitoring, the airfield is broken down into 2 primary priorities according to the FAA. And if you see the map to your right outlined in red, that is what we call our priority 1 area. And then everything else in the blue, so all the different taxiway connectors out in the West Flex, and unfortunately, Horrible Bureau ramp and towards Guardians ramp is what we call priority 2 area. And so measuring the priority 1 area, we actually have over 2.5 million square feet of asphalt that we have to remove snow. And I am going to use the word remove snow, Adam, sorry, it's just old habit, even though technically we're not removing it. And so the FAA targets or sets a timeline on that. We, in theory, if there's a 1-inch snowstorm that covers all of those, covers all of those priority 1 and 2 areas, but especially the priority 1 area, it says that we have 30 minutes to clear that. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge given and you'll see not only with some of the equipment that we have, which we're getting better at, but particularly with the staffing levels as well. But to explain a little bit more about how they come up with that, if you would go to the next slide now, Missy, if you don't mind. They have a calculation on here. And so a lot of this is just kind of jargon, and I just kind of put it up there for illustrative purposes. But basically what we do is you plug in what the, obviously the location of the airport, and the what type of service it is and how many annual operations, and it kind of spits out some of these numbers. You also get to plug in like the actual size of your aprons, your taxiways, and your runways, and it comes down to this little algorithm at the bottom. And if you look close, and if not, it just basically iterates the 2,652 tons of snow for a 1-inch snowstorm in our priority 1 area, so which is a lot of snow. So out of that, at the very, very bottom left-hand corner, it spits out what we are eligible for snow pieces of snow removal equipment. And quick math, 12, 14, 15 pieces according to the FAA that we are allowed to have. And currently we only have about 8 of those. And so if you go to the next slide, this is our primary airfield snow removal equipment, our fleet. It is important to note, like in some of those calculations, and you don't have to go back, miss or anything, but if sometimes they will combine a couple of those. So instead of a displacement plow and a rotary broom, they'll allow what is up in the top left corner picture, and that's called a multitask piece of equipment or an MTE. And the cool thing about that is that that front attachment, which is shown with the broom right now, can detach and be replaced with a rotary plow, which is what we call our snow blower, which would be the bottom left picture, which is a dedicated piece of equipment in that particular instance, or a high-speed displacement plow, which is similar to what you'll see in the upper right and lower right position or pictures. So it's kind of tricky, but again, we're doing better than we have been. We're still a little bit low than what we probably should have, but again, I know we're working hard on that. So right now, our fleet consists of 2 displacement plows, which is what you would see on the bottom right-hand corner. Similar, basically, they're just plow trucks. 2 material spreaders, which is what you'll see up in the upper right-hand corner. I just pulled up some specifications. Right now, we use a sodium formite granulate de-icer. It's actually a de-icing and an anti-icer. So if our crews can forecast the storm appropriately, and depending on the conditions of the event, we can put an application down to prevent some of the icing up of that runway. So we can get those RCCs, or those runway condition codes, into those 3, 4s, or 5s, which we would really like in the commercial aircraft, and I think aircraft in general, and Orville can correct me if I'm wrong, really would like to see in inclement weather. And then finishing off our fleet, we have, again, a 1 dedicated rotary plow. Again, that's that bottom left-hand corner there. Again, it's a giant snowblower. I think everybody on here is familiarized with using a snowblower in their driveway. It's the same thing, except this is capable of blowing 4,000 tons an hour. So it's obviously a little bit bigger. And then we have a multitask equipment, like I said, we talked about in the upper left-hand corner. And then we have 2 loaders. And the loaders is similar to what Orville and his operations use. We put these giant boxes on there that we basically just kind of push or squeegee the ramps off of. And then we put them into piles. They're not little by any stretch of the imagination. And then we use the rotary plow or the blower to kind of broadcast them out into areas where aircraft or vehicles don't need to traverse. So as I mentioned, we're using working with the FAA and our partners, as well as our state partners too, and trying to identify some more needed equipment. Or in this last recent year, we're looking at actually updating some of our equipment. The the displacement plow at the bottom right-hand corner is actually one of our oldest pieces of equipment. I want to say it's in 1993. And so we're due to some mechanical issues that actually hasn't ran in quite a while. So we're looking at seeing if we can get a grant replacement for that to kind of right-size that fleet. And then kind of tying into kind of what Adam has been working on. And again, I would like to echo what he was saying about all the support from everyone on this team and our council and city leadership in general, is the storage of this equipment. And so 2 big issues is the staffing to operate the equipment, because right now we have our firefighters that are performing the operations and the wildlife and the security and the maintenance are also performing snow removal operations. And so it gets really tricky with a minimum staffing of 2 to try and also operate a snowplow. And so we do rely heavily on overtime if folks are available to come in. And we also rely on some snow temp operators to come in and help support that. So, and then obviously I shouldn't say obviously, the other biggest challenge, again, it goes back to what Adam was talking about, is where do we put all this stuff? And so right here on these couple of photos, you'll see a few pictures of where we're trying to cram as much snow equipment as we can into places. If you look at the left-hand photo, it's the picture of our fire station, the ARPOPS building. And looking at it if this is actually looking at a point of view from the runway, on the left-hand side is what we call our fire bay, and that's where the 2 big crash trucks are. And then in years past, the right-hand side of the building, those 2 bay doors were used primarily for snow removal equipment storage. But if you look really closely, and if not, you can take my word for it, in that very far bay with the glass on the right-hand side, you'll see another fire truck in there, and that's our reserve truck. And basically, we're just kind of bursting at the seams. You'll also see a piece of airfield maintenance equipment or a mower sitting out front. So same thing, we're kind of growing leaps and bounds. So, but we also need to try and protect the equipment that the FAA so graciously gives us money for. And so we can't just leave it outside or throw a tarp over it. And so unfortunately, we've had to compromise and use a couple of our larger hangars in the back. And you'll see hangars 103 and 104 have been our de facto overflow for our snow removal equipment. And if you look in the far right-hand corner, in addition to seeing the middle corner, we have two of our material spreaders kind of packed in there as best we can. On the far right-hand side, you'll see one of our newest pieces of equipment that's not on the snow removal equipment calculations list, but that is a telehandler forklift, which has really been a huge help in the assistance of moving some of these heavy pieces around, some of the attachments, but primarily what we're using it for is the very far right of that right-hand picture is those large bags of the de-icing chemical, and that's that sodium formate. And so we're kind of cramming everything we can into what little space we have. So needless to say, we are much looking forward to that much needed building to get our pieces of equipment in there and get them protected and get them in a nice modern facility, and especially all in one place so we're not spread across the airfield. So yeah, I think that's really about it, I believe. If there's any questions, I know it's kind of high level overview. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but can I answer any questions?
Any questions from any of the commissioners?
Tim, so I'm not commissioner. Tim, do you have a date set for the snow meeting?
I do not actually. I just wrote it down on my sticky note because we were talking about that in another meeting. I am going to try. I think we did it last year in October, Orville. So I'm going to aim for that as well, either the very, very end of September or October. But I'll send it out ASAP.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else? Anything from the commissioners? Going once?
I'm here all day. Let me know if you need something.
Okay. All right, with that, any other comments from any of the commissioners?
I do have a quick comment. I'm
Okay.
not a commissioner, I apologize. Two things real quick, as Orville just alluded to, and I should have mentioned it earlier. When we do snow operations, we do partner with Wiseman and also the tower sits in on that as well. All of our main users, when we sit down to have our snow meeting, like internal snow meeting, we collaborate with them. And then the other item real quick is I should have mentioned this earlier, but the question was the visitor center hours is currently 8 to 5. And that will be changing to 5:30 to 2:30 p.m. Next month. And that is because of our flight schedules. That way we can capture more people and help them. So.
And once we have everything set, we'll do a grand opening. We'll make sure to invite you all.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
This is Commissioner Josh. I did have something. Last week, I don't know if you guys heard me, but I had requested we get the last rate rent study that the airport had done. And hopefully add it to a future agenda to be discussed.
So the agenda set by the chair and the staff. So that's certainly something that we'll put under consideration.
Thank you.
And then just a reminder, we won't be meeting in October, so we'll see you all in November.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Commissioner Schaus. I'll motion to adjourn.
Second?
This is Commissioner White. I can second that motion.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And hearing no no's, we're adjourned at 13:56. Thank you.
Have a great
Thanks,
day,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.